We have two guests in the studio. Before we welcome them, let me tell you this proverb from Ivory Coast. I'm just relaying the proverb, okay? It's better a bad wife than an empty house.
Wow.
Wow, right? Wow.
David said yes.
Our two guests in the studio. David Lawrence is Associate Principal of Marketing and Head of Communication at Standard Chartered Kenya PLC. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Latif. How are you?
And Albert Otieno is a fitness enthusiast and the founder of Zoezi Maisha. Albert, good morning.
Morning to you. How are you?
Kapoa ndio kamera ikushike vizuri.
Okay.
No ball. Right. When you hear this proverb, David, why do you say aye? Or did you say yes?
He nodded his head.
Yeah, I was like, wow, okay. I mean, everybody focuses on getting a good wife. They say somebody gets a wife, gets a good thing. He doesn't talk about a good wife, so just got me thinking.
He who gets a wife gets a good thing.
Yeah.
And obtains favor from the Lord.
Yeah, it doesn't say a good wife. So
It's not he who gets a good wife.
yeah,
Okay.
so that got me thinking. But
So this is in line with the Bible then, eh?
yeah,
The Ivorians
And
want
good is
something.
relative also.
And good is relative as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just as well as bad is relative.
Exactly.
What do you make of that,
All of
Albert?
it.
I think I look at it from the fitness perspective.
Yeah.
You'd rather do something than to stay idle or just inactive. So I think I'll buy that idea. It's better have something than nothing. From the
Heri
fitness
nusu ya
perspective.
shari.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Albert, what do you do? What is Zoezi Maisha?
Zoezi Maisha, thank you so much. Zoezi Maisha is a fitness club. We actually thrive in ensuring that people live a very active and healthy lifestyle. You know what hit us 2 years ago. You saw how many guys suffered because of their lifestyle. So we decided that instead of guys living inactive lifestyle, we came up with a club. It's a fitness club whereby guys register by only having a t-shirt. We try as much as possible to make fitness affordable and accessible. Unlike other clubs whereby you have to cough some good amount of money, we decided that no, fitness should be as interesting, accessible, and affordable.
As barrier-free as possible.
Absolutely. So we began last year. Right now we are over 164 members across the globe, as I said earlier. And Kisumu being one of the towns global cities. We have guys in South Africa, UK. Nairobi is the main center where we have over 112 members. So what we normally do, we do mapping. Guys come from different estates. We say, okay, well, we have guys from Eastlands, we have guys from maybe Langata, Karen, Ongata Rongai, so that we organize weekend runs. These weekend runs actually help guys to improve on their runs in terms of mileage, even forms, because as the coach, I also look into how guys do their run, because running is not just moving forward. There's so many other things involved. How you step forward,
how you swing your
arms. Yeah, there's so many things that are really involved in jogging or running, for that matter. So our main focus is to enhance a healthy lifestyle in our society. This is based on the backdrop of what happened during the COVID period. That is how Zoezi Maisha has actually come up.
You know, one of the biggest barriers to a healthy and fit lifestyle is not necessarily the money.
Exactly.
It's a mindset, right?
Sure.
How do you make that then an easy one, so that you eliminate this barrier here of
Of course,
running how many kilometers?
Of course, it requires discipline and consistency. And based on the previous testimonies, because you find that some guys who have walked with us this long journey, so when we feature them, people get some inspiration that, hey, why can't I join this club? I know when you're in a group of people, you wake up in the morning, like in our group, you wake up at 4 o'clock, you find somebody has done like 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers. You wonder, what happened? Where can't I go out and do something better than this, or just the same amount of kilometers like this? So the motivation that comes in the group is quite amazing, because this is where guys get their energy from. And unlike when you're just alone, like you said earlier, waking up in the morning can be a bit tricky unless you're going to be paid. Here you are going to be paid because you're going to spend less on hospital bills. That commitment actually helps you so much in reducing your hospital bill, because you know what our health infrastructure in this country looks like.
Yep.
So I tend to believe that teamwork. Like yesterday, we are doing a recce along Southern Bypass where the marathon will be held at. And the guys, some ladies in our group did their personal best in terms of 21 kilometers. They've never done 21 kilometers. But because they were in a group, we were running together. There's that motivation, there's that joy. Hey, twende pamoja. Let's go, keep pushing. The two ladies who did amazing job, and we were like, huh? They could, even their husbands were like, hey, kumbe nakanga na athlete kwa nyumba bwana. That's about the group.
They saw money.
Yes.
They saw Boston, next Boston, London,
How
Chicago,
can we cultivate
money.
this?
Exactly, yes. Yeah. Actually the group is going very fast. And if you look at the trend, I believe that in the next few years, Nairobi will be a running nation, a running city, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting because now with the marathon, David, obviously, then we're seeing a lot of people who are getting ready for the marathon.
Yes.
Probably I look at the marathon over the years, that it's been held in Nairobi, and looking at the time now that more people are then vested in training early so that they can perform better. But at the same time, killing another bird with the same stone, whereby health and fitness becomes a thing. Did Standard Chartered ever think that you get to the point whereby the marathon then is fueling the desire to be healthier?
It's actually very interesting, and we started realizing this when we started working very closely with running clubs, like now Zoezi Maisha, and just getting them early into the conversation of the marathon, organizing events with them as we prepare, even for the marathon, and you realize that there is a buy-in that is different. There's a cultural change, and you can trace it back to COVID. I think most people started running as kill time, get out of the house, and I think it's growing into the Kenyan population, and we see the response even in our pre-marathon events that we've organized to help guys prepare for the 2022 Nairobi Marathon, and he's always there with his Zoezi Maisha team, and the other running clubs, the Urban Swarers, and you can see the buy-in, and they actually register as a group. And that's one thing that technology has allowed us to ensure that if you want to register as a group, you come register as a group, you run as a group.
Right.
So we create some activity along the route. And this year, and when he was talking about beating your best time, we actually working with running clubs to have, they call it a bus. And these are pace setters, So if you want to do 2 hours, if you want to do 1 hour, if you want to do 5 hours, there's a specific group with a flag telling you this is the 5-hour group. Stick with us along the marathon, and we're going to implement it, I think, for the first time actually in this year's marathon, because we've realized people, as long as they do it for fun, for being healthy and active, they also want to achieve better timing.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay. And I experienced that in Kilimanjaro Marathon. We said, why can't we do it for Standard Chartered? And now we have a team of guys, and you stick with the team. You say, I want to do 3 hours. That's my target. You stick with the 3-hour team. They have music. They have a psych squad, and they bring in some energy. Before you realize it, you might even be doing the 2 hour, 2.5 hours, So it's very interesting, and it's really catching up. And we can see that in the registration. I think this year we are a bit ahead in terms of registration and response we are getting. More people are registering early because they're actively engaged in events.
They own it.
Events. They now own it, and they're taking part in different preparation. A marathon, pre-marathon events. And I think there's a mind shift in terms of I need to register early. Yeah.
What are these pre-marathon events that have been taking place? And when did they begin? When do they end?
Yeah.
How can one join one?
Yes, so we just did our last one, though, unfortunately, last Saturday. And that one was, dedicated to our sponsors. We have over, I think, 15 sponsors this year. And these are bringing, of course, it's building into the experience, because all these guys bring in different capabilities. Even in the village, when you're done with the run, you want to have a bite, a healthy bite. You want to hydrate. You want to have a kanyama bite. Or you want, what these people like. Some liquor, some caboose there, biela there. So we're trying to bring an entire experience in the village. So after the run, so we were celebrating our sponsors this warm-up race. We've had 3 this year. The first one was dedicated to running clubs, and a number of them actually showed up. The second one was for persons with disability, and we've launched a program to also help them prepare. It's an inclusive training program that is targeting all persons with disability, be it visual, physical, intellectual, and we've dedicated or themed these warm-up races targeting different, categories of participants of the marathon. And they're simple 5 kilometer, 10 kilometer. For guys who want to stretch a little bit, we do 21 kilometers, and we do it within the running community, within Nairobi, the green spaces like Karura, Arboretum. I think we did one at Parklands, which is also a very active club. And they have this every month they have a monthly run. We plugged into those races, so we've gone to plugging into existing races as opposed to organizing our own races, so that we can support that active lifestyle that is already happening in the community, and also promote the marathon. And I think the response was good. We have over 400 people turning up every time,
right,
to participate. Yeah.
So, like, in terms of numbers, what are we looking at already for those who are going to run the marathon this year, and then those who are going to do the virtual run as well?
Yeah. So, overall, we're targeting 25 participants, 25,000, sorry. 15,000 for the physical. I think right about now we are approaching 10K. 10K. I think as of last week we were around 7 something. The run rate, the daily run rate has really gone up in terms of registration. Majority of these are actually corporates. And I think corporates are seeing opportunity to engage with their employees, encourage an active lifestyle, within their workforce.
Yeah.
And I think that one translates into the insurance, claims that they get, from employees. I mean, as Standard, I think
motivation.
we've seen that drop, and we see at Standard, even the HR, they send a lot of comms and organize virtual calls, and try to get people out of their homes and their desk to be active, because they're seeing it reflects on claims. So corporates, big numbers. Some give us 300 plus numbers, and this is yearly. Every year they sponsor 300 staff members to come participate. Individual registration is also picking up, and I think the response is good. The virtual, we are trying also to tap into our network as a bank to have more staff from across Uganda, Tanzania, say UAE, Europe, also register and participate. So that one is ongoing. The virtual numbers are still very low. So, just calling on somebody if you're not able to...
What do you think this is? Do you think there is less awareness and maybe confusion around what virtual is? Because every time we talk about virtual, you always see somebody else squinting their eyes and thinking, what do you mean by virtual run?
Yes, and that concept is difficult. And I think you got it. When you're doing your introduction, you talked about virtual. I was like, wow, Latif actually gets it. So virtual is you wake up, you run from wherever you are. You track it on a device, either your smartwatch or the running apps. We have several, Runkeeper, Strava. And then our website is smart enough to detect when you upload it. It will be able to pick up, the timing and create a leaderboard for the virtual run. I think we got a good response last year, maybe because of COVID, and we restricted the number of physical participation last year. But this year, we are back to a full-blown marathon, and I have a feeling we might hit more than 15,000 in terms of registration. It might go back to the 2019s where we hit 18,000 runners. So virtual participation is still open for anybody outside of Nairobi. If you're not able to travel to Nairobi and run with that physically, you can still run from Kisumu, Mombasa. We have satellite runs there, and we have clients and staff members organizing. I'd call them mini marathons, but all registered for the virtual.
Explain that a little bit as you answer this question, because Jackie is asking, why has this run never been commissioned in other counties? I know one can do the virtual one, but I want to run physically. But in Mombasa, I don't have to travel all the way to Nairobi.
So yes, it's a good thing. We're having 3 satellite runs. I'll call them satellite runs. One will be in Kakamega. So Masinde Muliro will be hosting it.
On the same day?
Not on the same day. They'll do it on a Friday.
Okay.
They'll do it on a Friday. So the week of the virtual marathon, which runs from 23rd to 30th. So you can do a virtual run. So Masinde will have one on the Friday of 28th. And then in Kisumu, we'll have it on the same day. And we see even county governments are really interested and they're coming on board to, participate, create some excitement, around the city. Mombasa is the same. Even the county government are really interested in having conversation. That organization is ongoing. So we're inviting our clients.
When is the Mombasa run?
Mombasa run is on the 29th.
Okay. So 28th
Sorry,
is
23rd. 23rd, a week before.
23rd
They wanted to have more of attention, drawn to Mombasa.
Focused on
Mombasa. So
trust Abdul Swama to do this.
Yeah.
28th is Kakamega and Kisumu.
28th is Kakamega. Kisumu is on the 30th. They want to do it on the same day as the marathon day. For Mombasa is on the 23rd. So they'll do a 5 kilometer and a 10 kilometer run. For Kakamega, I think they'll do both 5, 10, and 21. For Kisumu, they'll do 5 and 10.
So then will their timings then be on the leaderboard as well?
It will be on the virtual leaderboard.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
It will be on the, so for you to participate in those races, you have to register for the virtual run.
Okay.
So you go on the platform, you choose virtual, you choose your distance, you register. We are able to actually send them kits. Because it's within Nairobi. Even outside of Nairobi, if you want to register and get your kit, you can still get it. But we've partnered with DHL to do the deliveries for us outside of Kenya or Nairobi.
Yeah.
So you can register virtually in Kisumu, get your running kit, and get your medal on the day.
Voila.
When do people start receiving their kits?
So we close registration on the 16th. After that, kit distribution starts on the 23rd. Of October till 29th of October.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so Albert, somebody wants to participate in the marathon, doesn't even have an idea of what a running shoe looks like, has never done more than a simple trot from their car to the office and wants to participate and says, okay, short of having a heart attack if I get onto the Southern Bypass on the 30th, what then should they do to start getting into, this? I want to register today, but I've never done, and there are many people who would want to, but they're saying, okay, so how is my body going to be able to take this? What would you say? How can they start off? I mean, we've got 2 weeks.
And I think, thank you so much. I think this is an area that we need to handle carefully because you see, they've given us some provisions. We have 5 kilometer, 10 kilometer, 21 and 42. For a beginner who has never moved an inch. Very, very funny. I think it's just good to start by walking. Listen to your body because you will always know when your body is adjusting. So if you have never done it before, I would suggest you just register now. These 3 weeks are enough for you to probably prepare for a 5 kilometer walk. Just because it's a fun, you can walk with the other because it's more of a family thing. So you don't need to think of doing a 21 or a 42 with the pace that you've never done before because you've not trained. For instance, I'll give a very good example. Kipchoge he has been training for a whole year and he only made 1 second improvement. You see that? There's a lot of preparation. So for someone who has never done a marathon before, I'll advise you to just start now. Register first, of course. Once you register, you have this short, I call it short, 5 kilometers, a very short distance. You can come, walk, even if it takes you a whole day to walk a 5 kilometer. The organizers are very keen enough and they're more caring. They'll give you that provision to walk, get to the finish line. The most important thing is to get to the finish line. Some of us, I'll give a very good example. In 2017, when I just began my journey, my fitness journey, I was around 104 kgs. And I was a bit ambitious. Though I had done a bit of some runs before, like some 3-4 months, but still, I found 21 quite difficult. It took me almost 4 hours to do a 21 kilometer. That's a half marathon. Right now, because of the experience and the training that I've done since then, my personal best for half a marathon is 1 hour, 21 minutes. and I'm probably targeting less than 1 hour, 20 minutes this year. If God willing, based on my training, I'm focusing so much on 119, 118, 1 hour, 18 minutes, which is quite doable. That's a pace of around 3.5 per kilometer. So it's all about training. But for someone, as I said earlier, for someone who is interested to register, don't be discouraged. This is an opportunity for you to launch your fitness journey. Just register. The links are there, but don't be ambitious.
Start walking.
Start walking. You'll get there. Trust me, you'll get there. I remember I struggled, and I'll do that with you this time. We'll do a 5 kilometer.
You'll tell us about that. Start walking and the struggle.
And the struggle.
And the struggles at one. So that you can put somebody into their right frame of mind and expectations.
Yeah.
First of all, just internalizing the 1 kilometer, how long 1 kilometer is. I think that's the first thing. Somebody assumes 1 kilometer.
You pass out.
Then you go and you're like,
hey, it's not finished.
300 meters.
But there's so many repeat participants, who started simple.
Yeah, it's just so simple.
Saying, achieving
even
that 5 kilometer, getting your medal,
it's a
will
milestone.
push you towards the next run. And you'll move from 5 kilometer to 10 kilometer to 21. Similar to what he's saying. I never used to run, by the way. I never used to run. I knew I could run, but it's painful. It can be very painful.
It was more of a punishment.
It can be very painful to run.
Let's go run.
So nowadays, 10 kilometers is an easy run. I can do 21.
Comfortably.
I can do 42. Because
You can.
at the end of 21, you feel like, what? Can I go 21 again? And that's what 42 kilometer guys do, So with the repeat participants, and we see them graduating from 10 kilometer to 21. Some of them go to 21, they're like, what? Hey, they go back to 10. Because those are our biggest, numbers, 10 and 21. And the number keep on fluctuating. It goes up and down. And right now, if you look at even the number of ladies registering for 21 and 10 kilometer, for 10 kilometer is 50-50.
Wow.
Yeah, the number of ladies and men is 50-50.
Sure.
Even for 21 is going up. If you look at our statistics right now, so it's the starting is the most important.
Like we said, the biggest barrier is up here. 8:30. Let's take a break.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
David Lawrence, Head of Communications at Standard Chartered, is here, and Albert Otieno, who is a fitness enthusiast and founder of Zoezi Maisha running group, is here with us. You have 164 members. Back to that question that Ndu asked. So as you're preparing for this marathon, you told us the first thing is register.
Just register.
And then start walking.
Be bold enough and register.
Be bold enough. Just put your name out there. Start preparing. Now, there are things that you need. What kind of shoes should I have? What kind of socks? What kind of, top and bottom should I be having? All these things. How do I carry my water? Do I need to have lemon and cucumbers in the water bottle? How would you advise people who are starting?
Of course, shoe plays a very important role because you use your shoe more than any other outfit when you are doing your walks. So when you have a comfortable shoe, of course, I've seen a number of guys using ngoma, those what do you call them? Yeah. But we have
bangomas.
The ngomas, those are not good shoes for walking or jogging, because when you have a good shoe, but there are also other factors that are considered. The people who have flat foot, the people who have the normal feet. So you know yourself, the kind of feet you have.
How does one know whether they have a flat foot or not?
Of course, the frame or the structure is there. They know themselves that. For instance, even in the army recruitment, they always check on those flat-footed guys.
The army guys know how to check for a flat foot. But how do you check your own flat foot? How do you know?
The arch, remember the arch down there, where the heel and where it connects the upper part of the foot. Of course, if it is flat, that's a flat-footed character. And even getting their shoes is never easy because the nature of their feet actually requires a lot of other factors to be considered when you're buying shoes. So once you get a good shoe, that is a step forward. Of course, you don't go in the jeans. Okay, you need a nice track for those who are not able to. Who are not comfortable running in their tights. Of course, there are some guys who don't like their tights. You can use tracks tracks are quite comfortable.
What material?
They call it the dry fit, the one you sweat in and they dry immediately. They're very, very comfortable, and they also avoid the chafing, because chafing is also a very discomfortable part of running, because when you have those wrong garments for as your pants, you find yourself having chafing after the run, and that comes out in handy when you are going for a shower. You really have to.
That's when you realize what you've been doing.
Exactly, yeah. So when it comes to upper body, you can have a nice T-shirt. Of course, Standard Chartered Bank, they have some of the best T-shirts around. But if you have your own garment like mine, you can always use this other one. And apart from that, you can also invest in a proper watch. A watch is a very important part of exercise, because you need to time yourself, see whether you are improving. Some watches are very advanced. They even give you the heart rate. If you are actually pushing so much, it will warn you that please slow down a bit. Otherwise, you can easily find yourself on the ground. So a proper preparation involves so many things. Proper sleeping, you must also sleep very well, because a day before the run can be very tricky. Some people get a bit of anxiety, because tomorrow is that day that you are going to showcase all that you put. Exactly, yeah. And of course, the adrenaline goes up, because this is a run that has so many people, and people behave differently. You just need to be calm enough, do your run. Listen to your body. I always insist on listen to your body. Don't run my race. Don't go with my pace, because the way I train is different from the way you train. So as you prepare for your first race, I'm talking about the guys who are doing this for the first time. It's important to check on the right outfit. I'll talk about the shoes, the tops and the tracks for that matter. If you don't have a watch, you can as well upload so many running apps from your phone to just guide you. Of course, at the end of the day, it's about you achieving a certain goal. And the biggest goal in this case is finishing. Finishing comfortably and help. There are people who collapse because they stretch so much because they were running the races that were not theirs. So it's just a matter of, it's not about competing. You are competing against yourself. If you did, let's say, 21 last year in 3 hours, if this year you've trained very well, even if you do it in 2 hours, 59 minutes, that's an improvement. A very big one. As I said earlier, remember Kipchoge trained for a whole year to make a difference of a second. And that was a world record. So it's about you competing against yourself. There's other things like even what you eat before the race. The
breakfast.
The breakfast. Yeah. Because you need energy.
Yeah,
you need enough energy, the fueling, and of course, hydration is very important. The organizers of the races, they put water points after almost 5 kilometers.
Every 5 kilometers.
Yeah, so that should not be a worry. So it's about the mindset.
So what should you have that morning?
That morning, it also depends on how you've been training. Like someone like me, I do coffee in the morning. The people, when they do coffee, they can't even do a proper run. So it's about how you've trained your body, how you tuned yourself.
Okay.
Me, I do coffee in the morning. Okay, mine is very simple. In the morning, I wake up, I have a cold shower. Very cold shower. It has been my routine since then, and it has worked well for me. Some people, cold shower is a punishment. Even showering in the morning before a run is just...
It's too much.
It's just too much for them. So just use your routine. After all, you're not going for any competition. You're just going to compete against yourself. We're not going for Olympics. We are just recreational runners. The other factors leave it to the elites. Elites, they know what they go for. And they're surprised for that. You've seen I remember last year but one, if you look at the difference between elite and recreational runners like us, these guys, they really check on their timings. When the race is ongoing and they foresee that they can't meet the time that was set, they just drop everything. They will be picked by lorries along the way. Unlike the recreational runners, they would even take 6 hours as long as they finish their runs. That's how it is. That's one of the main distinctive features between a recreational runner and those elite runners. So the most important thing, prepare yourself. 6 months too, you can be doing what we call hill reps, just build your endurance. You can do the speed work, you can do tempo, you can do strength training, because once you do a lot of runs without strength training, you are actually prone to injuries, and nobody wants to have injury at this particular time.
No.
Towards the race, like now, you now scale down what we call tapering. People now start doing short runs, have enough rest, so that on the race day you have all that energy that you need to push you forward to the finishing line.
So the good thing about what he's talking about, we've partnered with trainers, and this is accessible to especially corporate organizations who register to run. And we have a pool of 3 or 4 coaches, who are actually able to structure a training program for your organization and for your members. Be it just Latif and his team of friends, you can get an access to a coach who can actually guide your team in terms of preparation. And even if you go to our website, Nairobi Marathon, that inclusive training program is for anybody. You don't have to have a disability to use it. It's a very well-structured training to prepare you towards any race, be it 10, 5, 21, or even 42 kilometers, because it has those, repeats, speed work, building endurance. It has stretches, instruction on stretching.
Warm-ups.
It has warm-ups. It has strength training where you go into the gym and work on your quads and your legs, so that you're able to carry your body through 21 kilometer. And what he's talking about, even in terms of gear and all that, we have different partners within our running community. Guys like Run Beyond, they'll advise you on the right shoe to wear. They'll advise you on the right outfit. It has to be dry fit. And when we talked about the standard that we offer in terms of the t-shirt, is actually dry fit.
Okay.
And that's actually one of the best running tops that you can have. So it's to just encourage guys to, first of all, register. If you have a challenge on how to prepare, just reach out to us. We'll be able to guide you to the right person to talk to help you prepare for the run.
David, remind us why we are running. Why are we running this year? And what
Why
is it?
are you running?
Yeah,
Why are you
literally, why are we running?
Yes. I mean, it's so interesting. And I was listening to your show earlier about the Day of the Girl Child. And one of the reasons why we are running is actually to support that population. So we call it Future Makers by Standard Chartered. I know for a long time people know reason, seeing is believing.
Yep.
Yes.
Which was pretty simple. It's corrective eye intervention, but Future Makers go beyond that. So we are talking about empowering persons with disability, empowering disadvantaged members of the society, especially youths and women. And we've rolled out a number of programs to support this group of people. One of them is actually Goal, and Goal actually looks at adolescents, young ladies, and it uses sports. So it's football fused with skills or soft skills training, entrepreneurship training. There's a bit of revolving fund supporting these ladies, and there's a lady who's opened a nice salon out of that program. And she started when she was still in primary school, and she grew through the ranks, and now she's a business owner. So every fund that we raise from the marathon goes towards Future Makers, and Future Makers looks at employability. And you're talking about the room. I mean, how do we prepare young professionals or students ready for the job market? And we're tapping into our resources as a bank in terms of professionals within the bank. And interesting, this year we are seeing even corporates reaching out. How can we, plug into Future Makers? They might be sponsors, or they might just be a corporate participant. They're saying, how can we, be part of it to help train, university students to be ready for the job market? And it is tapping into top talents, within the country, even within our bank. And they're having sessions with, we've partnered with like 7 universities to help them prepare for the job market. It might be as simple as writing your CV that will, get you into the interviewing room. And how do you even prepare for the interview? How do you package yourself in front of a panel? There's a soft skills that sometimes blocks people from getting that next job. Yeah. So we are working with the universities too to plug that gap. Other programs is entrepreneurship, and it's targeting women. We call it Women in Tech, and we're doing it with Strathmore, the iLab business, IB, sorry, for the last 4 years. And the stories that come out of these programs, applications. So it's targeting startups who are leveraging technology to advance their businesses. Yeah. So you go through a 12-week program, intense business 101 from business proposal to cash management flows to tax to anything that will equip you to run your business. And then at the end of it, you get a seed funding of $1 million, Bob. And it has opened doors for so many young ladies who are running very innovative businesses, or just a simple restaurant, but you're using technology to advance your business, and we've seen good stories coming out of it. Some of them are giving insurance solutions using technology, and they've attracted additional financing from venture capitalists. So I think is the impact that 2,000 shillings that you give towards the marathon, the impact is going to have on. It might not be the biggest number, but it's a select number of guys who can have the biggest impact. And even the selection that we go through in terms of women in tech, it's so rigorous and it's so independent because we tap into the expertise within the entrepreneurship space, and we tap into Strathmore as a business school, and they help us run these programs. We are a bank. Sometimes we can't do everything, so we partner with people to implement some of these programs.
Yeah. I mean, so that, did you ever think, I think it's what you call a double whammy. Did you ever think that now here you are impact, because you talk about seeing is believing before, and then now with future makers, whereby indeed the future of a lot of people essentially will be made because there are people coming together to run.
Yeah.
But then here you are, and you have a whole movement then that has been created of people who are actively seeking a fitter, healthier lifestyle. Yeah. And then at the same time, running in this marathon, which is impacting lives for the future. Was it in the mind, of the institution to say, okay, well, let's see if we can do this. But then here you are, and then there's impact on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, it's so the impact on the community side, that's always been our aspiration. I think another aspiration is to support budding athletes within the country. And this is looking at elite athletes who use the marathon as a springboard towards launching their running careers. We look at promoting Nairobi City as a tourist destination. We're talking about the other day we were doing our recce's. There's so many giraffes along the route. I'm just hoping they'll be there on the 30th.
So many buffaloes around.
Exactly. So it's a run next to the national park. They only see to the national park inside it. So it's trying to promote the tourism attraction that Nairobi has. And Magical Kenya has actually come on board as a partner. And I think in the coming years they'll be working to come up with travel packages. For our running community. If you come participate in the marathon, you'll get a package to go to your next destination. So that was the aspiration, but the response in terms of guys taking up an active lifestyle is something that even as we didn't anticipate, and we didn't see guys connecting their own personal reasons for running and our reason as a bank for organizing the marathon. But it's working so well because as I do my own, pursue my own ambitions and reason for running, I'm also supporting future makers, which is why we organize the marathon.
Off the script here a little bit, David.
Yes.
All right. So you've seen that this is what's happening. There are people who are interested in, taking up their personal health as an issue and their lifestyles and all. And they participate in this race. They join groups, running groups such as Albert's. But then there are not many running spaces around Nairobi or around the country. If you look at what the government has put in place, so how much effort, for example, has the county government of Nairobi put in ensuring that we have running spaces around. And a big organization such as you are, a corporate bank with a international brand, the governor of Nairobi would listen to Standard Chartered Bank.
Yes.
The governor of Nairobi would listen to Standard Chartered and see there's a huge population in a part of this city, very huge population, that don't have running tracks, any path where they can run. What can you do about that? I said, off the script.
Off the script. Too many pattern. But I'll try, remain as neutral as possible. But I think what we've started doing, and we realized this, I think last year, and we partnered with Arboretum to help renovate, the running paths there. And this is a partnership that we say Arboretum is the pilot. And what we're doing with Nairobi Arboretum, apart from creating the running paths and working with them to renovate. I don't know the last time you went to the Arboretum. The paths are, a bit, worn out per se. So we are working with Arboretum to help renovate that space. Number two is also try and do some education around running green spaces. And Strathmore, actually, we've partnered with Strathmore to develop an app that if you go to Nairobi Arboretum, you're able to have, some environmental awareness or sensitivity around it. We've also established like a 1 million seedling nursery there to, and this could be house plants, it could be fruit plants that actually is targeting the urban area. The bigger mission is to help establish similar running spaces across the different cities. Because as I mentioned, there's an active running population that is coming out in Kisumu. If you go to Coast, when you're going, I always do a run. And I go to Coast, I'll do like a run. And you will see
there are people.
There are people. And how can, private sector partner with governments to support?
Yeah.
Indeed.
And there's a lot of work to be done.
There's a lot of
course.
work to be done.
And this is a message now from the Situation Room.
Yes.
To Johnson Arthur Sakaja, Your Excellency, Governor. It's been a while. It's ahem. There's a lot of work to be done in terms of making sure that people like Albert and Eric and Ndu have spaces where they can walk out and they can run. And there are very many such people, Albert. I'm sure when people are coming and you're joining, you only have a limited areas where you think about organizing races. And yet Nairobi is so huge. And it requires more and more of such open spaces and green spaces where people can run, where people can go for recreation. Message home to the governor. Your final message, Albert, to people who are thinking, I want to start running. They set the alarm. And then the alarm goes off. Lakini nasikia kama kunanyesha.
Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. I think all of us can run. That's a fact. All of us do walk. And for somebody who really wants to venture into fitness and running in particular, just get out. There's a say I always like using during my morning posts about human beings are not like salt or sugar. Whereby when you are rained on, you are going to either dissolve. In fact, I enjoy it most when I run during in the rain because the temperatures are cool, the hearts are calm, and you perform very, very well. I know it's a bit of a challenge because of our road networks. There are no spaces, but I think we use what we have at the moment. And my final message is just get out. A kilometer counts.
Wow.
A kilometer counts. Yeah. Very good message. David Lawrence is the head of communication and associate principal in marketing at Standard Chartered Kenya. And Albert Otieno is the founder of Zoezi Maisha, a running group. We're all participating at the end of this month in the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon. That's what we've been talking about.
Yes.
Make sure that you do that.